Hello, and welcome to our SheStack community webinar. My name is Marina, and I am Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator at Intellias, and I will be the host of today's meeting. Let me briefly tell you a few words about our SheStack and how and where we started. And while I'm giving you the short intro, I also invite you to let us know in the chat from which locations you are joining us. It will be very interesting to know. So, as most of you already know, this year we've had our Global SheStack conference, where we brought together inspiring women in tech to discuss different topics such as gender equality, diversity, inclusivity, some career development, and also women empowerment, and many other topics in tech industry also. And following the conference, we launched the SheStack community on Discord with mostly the members of our conference who really wanted to stay in touch and to have their networking community. And for us, it's first of all, it's kind of space where women in tech can connect, can support each other, can have the safe and some inclusive platform for sharing different experiences and some useful info. And also where we have our regular meetings like this one. And also we will share the link on our SheStack community in the chat. So please join us and become part of our fantastic women in tech community if you haven't already. And I also would like to express our gratitude to our media partners. This webinar is organized by Intellias, and we honored to have the support of UN Women, of Pioneers Dev, of Geek Girls Portugal, Ladies at UX, Porto Tech Hub, Invest Porto, and Business Analysis Community. And of course, thanks to each of you for joining us. And today we have a very engaging speaker, and the topic she will share with us is truly exciting, believe me. It's a special pleasure for me to host this webinar because our today's speaker, Anna Kosmala, she's my colleague. Anna is talent delivery manager at Intellias Poland, and I know how professional and how dedicated she is, and she can share information in some unique and interesting way, you will see. And today, Anna also will share with us how to write job ads that are really inclusive, how to establish some strong relationships with hiring managers, and how to conduct effective kickoff calls also. And we will explore various types of biases and of some red flags in hiring, and I hope we will learn also how to handle them. And I'm more than sure that you will have a lot of questions, so just write them in the chat, and at the end of the main part of the presentation we will also have the Q&A session, and I hope we will cover most of them. So I'm so excited. Let's start. Anna, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Marina, for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here. Also, thank you so much for the invitation. EDI is always close to my heart, so I hope this session will be a great opportunity to share, and also I hope to gather some information and some feedback from you. So I would like to really encourage you as well to write your observations, also any other solutions or tips and tricks in the chat, and of course questions. I hope to leave some time for all those questions. Also, if we won't have time, I'll try to answer, and I'll try to share those answers with you later on. Okay, so I think we may just kick off. I will share my screen in a moment with you, and I will support myself and some tips and tricks with, of course, the presentation. Let me know if you see my screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. So before we start, Marina mentioned a few words about myself. I would like to add just really very quickly, because I believe it's not about me, it's about a really interesting topic later. However, it's great that you know who I am at least. Yeah. So as Marina mentioned, I'm at the moment a talent delivery manager at Intellias. I'm responsible for recruitment in Poland, so only for a Polish location. However, this is not exhaustive experience. So I've been working for wow, 15 years. I don't know when this time it just passed by. It's just flight. I feel like it was almost yesterday. I've supported different sectors. So as you see, shared service center as well, IT, big pharma, retail, and engineering. I've got like 8 years experience with building teams and managing people. My main scope is EMEA and Poland at the moment. However, I also worked a little with APAC teams. And areas of expertise, definitely recruitment and sourcing. I started my career journey on the agency side. So I was also a sourcer and recruiter. And then I started to work in RPO for a really huge company called Alexander Mann Solutions, IMS now. And as well, I've was digging deeper into more areas. So I've worked as well with the DNY strategies, of course, people management and coaching and mentoring the teams, as well operational excellence, continuous improvement. And I also was managing some projects myself, and as well trainings and compliance. You see as well my education here, so I think nothing we need to touch more here. And privately, I'm a mom. I've got a daughter. She's 12 years old. And I love to spend time traveling and snorkeling, especially during summer. And as well, I love bike trips, DNY, and singing. And regarding brands, so those are the brands I worked with previously, and I gained experience from as well. Before I go with some tips and tricks, I would like to not take everything for granted. I think it's important that we are on the same page all. So I will really briefly cover those three words. Yes, what is diversity, what's equity, and what's inclusion. I hope probably you've heard this many times, but let's just do it one more time. So first, I want to tell you that the order of those words is for me, it will be random. Yeah. So I will start with diversity, as I believe this is like some kind of more basic dimension, basic word. What is diversity? It's like a variety of people. So this is a fact. This is how our world is organized and how our world is built. Diversity recognizes and values those differences. If we are in a workplace, how do we measure diversity? It's just really simple. It's just by using different statistics. So diversity means inviting people. Is it enough to invite people to have diversity? Is it easy? This is actually where all begin. I wanted to share with you as well a really inspiring quote I found. This is a quote from inclusivity expert at Netflix from Verna Myers. Diversity is being invited to a party, and inclusion is being asked to dance. You can have a great start, but no party and no dance. So let's go further into the party. So here we have equity. What is equity? Like, this word has totally different meanings. There is no one word we can use for explaining equity. One of the closest synonyms for equity would be justice or fair treatment. So all employees are provided with fair, equal opportunities based on their individual needs. And this is what's really important. So it's not the same for everyone, but it's actually as per individual needs. This is where the party starts. So how we're going to treat those people when they're here with us in our organization. Will women be paid equally? Will people of color or minorities have same chances to get promoted and to develop? Will people with disabilities be allowed to join our event offices with no barriers? Equity is about addressing those disparities. We can visualize it really like easily. Let's imagine we have a people of different heights, and they've got one task. They need to catch the plane that is flying in the air. Equity will be here helping them to catch the plane. How we will do it and how we'll support them into that. This is actually what kind of action we need to do, and this is the equity. Yes, so it means adjusting the organization processes to individual needs, and it doesn't mean we're giving the same to everyone. It means as per individual needs. And the last word, inclusion. It can be also inclusivity. We'll probably see different. Here, it may also contain, for me, inclusion contains also belonging. Sometimes we also see belonging like a separate word. I would say for me, inclusion and belonging are together. Whilst diversity is a fact, inclusivity is a choice. This is a feeling of belonging, feeling valued, feeling respected. So this is how we act together, doing something together with respect to our differences and to respect with our diversity. And here's the real party. Yeah, so here we are all together and we are feeling great. Here we can thrive together with our different perspectives, and nobody's a wallflower, nobody's limited, nobody's excluded. So here I went through all those three words that are so important, and I wanted to pause for a moment before I go to the next part. I think it's worth mentioning that there are different responsibilities within the company. Yeah, so whilst we may today probably have some recruiters or source or people working as well with recruitment, or people that are interested in this topic or would like to work and develop themselves, I often hear or read different posts, articles, or comments about recruitment world. Some not positive, some positive. Actually, I'm not here, definitely not my intention to discuss them. As I believe those opinions can be interpreted from different perspectives based on where we are, what the role we have, what our expectations are, and in what kind of situations we are at the moment. Sometimes it's also about lack of knowledge. Yeah, so we may sometimes criticize recruiters or criticize the process if we don't have the right knowledge. Yes, every corporate recruiter or internal recruiter or agency recruiter works with some kind of, let's say, established process. Sometimes it's more established, sometimes less established. However, we are often asked to follow company guidelines. Yeah, so there are some kind of processes, there are some kind of steps that we need to follow because we are in some kind of corporate environment. Yeah, so I feel it's really important to say that the tips I would be sharing with you could be different for some of you. So sometimes it's also important to highlight, like, some recruiters will be responsible for shaping job descriptions. For some companies, they will not be responsible. Yes, in some companies, recruiters are also included into offer stage, in some not. So I wanted to tell you, like, take something you want or you need from this webinar that is reflecting your real environment, and also try to push aside something that will not fit. Yes, and it's always like, we don't have like one ready receipt for everything. It's not possible. Then it means it's for nothing. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to also mention this. It's also worth to mention that recruitment process is complex and it involves several stages, and sometimes in final decision, recruiter is not being engaged. So it may also happen that you are not decision maker, but we are, of course, participating into this process, and we may also influence. So today I wanted to tell you how we can influence, but please remember that this is not a responsibility that is only on recruitment function. Yeah, so this should be like a systemic process that is organized by the company, and that is on different levels. Yeah, so this is a leadership that should be also included, and also other functions. Yeah, so this should be like done on different levels. I also wanted to mention my materials will not be exhaustive. I'm sure that you have different opinions and perspectives, so they're just based on my observations and my experience. That's why I'm so happy as well to see and hear maybe something more from your side. Okay, let's go further then. We'll start from collaboration with hiring managers. I feel there are probably huge books about that, how to build a relationship and how to work with hiring managers, how to work with people. I would say it's like about every relationship. It's not about hiring manager and recruiter relationship. It's just about people relationship. Yeah. So I would say for me, collaboration with hiring manager is about building trust, and the trust is everything. I know you probably say, "Oh, trust, building trust." It's a cliche. We heard it many times. Of course, we've heard it many times. However, for me, everything starts from here. So if you don't have the trust, if you haven't built the relationship with the manager, probably those tips and tricks won't work, because you need to be perceived as an advisor, as an expert, to be able to enter the process and to be able to make a difference and to impact the process as well. Therefore, regarding building trust, I would say there are a few points that I observed that are somehow similar. So how can we build that trust with the managers? For me, it's based for all the actions. If we have trust and strong relationship, we are able as well to achieve those diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. I would say first, understanding the needs. So it's not only about the job, it's about the context. It's about manager's situation. So it's about showing that we care. Yeah. So starting with gathering all needed information that we need to have to start a really successful process. Context of the role, daily responsibilities, as well timelines, challenges. And it's also about being curious, asking questions, understanding context, reconfirming, rephrasing, as well presenting benchmark profiles. On the very beginning, presenting benchmark profiles and rechecking whether we are going in the right direction. If managers see that we care, definitely they will try to help us and support, and they will feel that the relationship is getting stronger. Then as well, the next is SLA KPIs and timelines. Yeah, so we need to set the expectations in front, inform managers what will happen next, how long it will take. For us, it's obvious, but for some managers, it is not. It's not their job to know everything about recruitment. They've got their own, they've got their daily duties. So it's on our shoulders actually to inform the manager, as well to show some kind of historical data, market insight, anything that can be useful for them to have an understanding of the process. The next one, I would say regular contact. This is really important, sometimes neglected. Don't let your managers to contact you first. Just try to keep the regularity. Of course, agree on the optimal regularity and form of collaboration and communication. As some managers would like to see a weekly update, some would see bi-weekly, and some would like to meet you every 2 days. Yeah, so let's try to stay realistic and as well adjust to managers and your needs as well. Also update, even if you don't have positive outcomes. This is what I've observed very often. Like, were you in contact with the manager? No, why? Because I don't have candidates. Yes, but manager doesn't know that. So if we won't inform, the manager feel like we don't work or we don't care. So it's really even important just to say that we don't have a candidates for now, but we are of course still looking for those. And then of course, provide insights, statistics, and feedback. Anything we've heard from candidates is important, and don't leave questions from candidates unanswered. Work closely with managers and share your knowledge with hiring manager. Actually, we are the point of contact for them, so they don't know what is happening on the market. It's not obvious for them. Therefore, we need as well to share this. Educate and advise on the process, good market practices, of course, in a polite, friendly, humane manner, but it's really great as well to share those market insights and good practices. And I'm sure manager will really appreciate that. They also would like to stay updated with good practices. Stay realistic and don't overpromise. So this is really, I would say, one of also the main point in terms of building relationship. Yes, that I can rely on you. If you say it would be tomorrow, then it would be tomorrow. If you're not sure it would be tomorrow, don't say it would be tomorrow. Yes, it's so obvious, but sometimes we are falling into trap that we are saying, oh, next week you'll have candidates, but will you really have those candidates next week? Try to just stay realistic. And be honest as well. Yeah. So if you've got some challenges and you are facing them, just inform manager about that. Don't be afraid of sharing real picture, like low response rate, high salary expectations, or candidates are not interested. This is also helping to build good relationship. Their share responsibility. It's not only on recruiters' shoulders or on recruitment function shoulders. Manager is also having some kind of responsibilities in the process, and we also need to highlight them in the during the process as well. Stay proactive, engaged. As I mentioned, don't wait the manager to contact you first with their questions. Try just to update them regularly. As well, show flexibility for changes. Recruitment process is not set in stone for once in a lifetime. It may change. Also, the business need may change. Also, if we work in a very fast-paced environment, it may happen that we are looking for a different profile in a moment, or that the vision for the role or the structure has changed, and we also need to be flexible. I know it's hard sometimes, especially when we just establish the pipelines. However, it's better just to follow managers' needs. Of course, gather quality feedback. Yes, we are also learning through that. So we need to have a really detailed feedback that will also help us to target better candidates for the future. And join interviews and PM calls. If possible, join them, see what managers are doing, how they interview, what kind of atmosphere they build during the process, and as well also share the feedback or just learn through that. Yes, so this is also something that can help us building trust. Here we'll go through some red flags. What will happen? What can go wrong? I will probably start with the most often one. So hiring manager is waiting for the perfect ideal candidate. So I would say it's a typical situation. And what can we do here? Like we can emphasize the importance of balancing ideal qualification with real expectations. Yeah. So what do you really need for the job? And what is your wish list? Yeah, so this is first. Then as well, provide time to hire. If you have from previous similar jobs, decide whether we are even able to find candidates. Yes, and if we found them previously, how long it took us. Just as well to set the expectations up front. As well, show the market insight and benchmark profiles. Yes. It's really rare situations that will have an ideal fit that will match all the boxes that we have, especially if we have a very, very long requirements list. Yes, so this is also what we can do. Also showing the benefits of hiring this or that candidate. So if you have a good candidate that's not matching all the boxes, but let's say is matching like 70%, let's try to show the benefits. Yes, like you will have better retention. The candidate will be motivated longer. You can invest, you can train, and you can retain longer. Also motivation, energy, approach of the candidate. If we have a ready candidate who's matching all the boxes, what will be the future, yes, of this team? If you need now, maybe you are also able to invest, yes, and maybe you are able also to hire for potential. So this is what can be done here in this problem. The next one is hiring a manager is having a tendency to postpone decision and compare. I'm sure you've also had those type of situations like, oh no, maybe one more or maybe three more, and I will compare and I will tell you, and then the process is getting longer and longer. And you feel like it is a never-ending story. So what we may do first, definitely during kickoff and first part of the process, establish clear timelines for decision making and agree them upfront, and reconfirm them as well with managers to make sure that they understand and they agreed and they are okay with this. As well, use tools like scorecards to objectively compare candidates with the job requirements. Encourage timely feedback. Don't wait for the manager to contact you first. Show candidates' perspective and highlight the situation on the candidate side. So what will happen if we wait? Yeah, so show the manager that they may lose candidates and that waiting sometimes it's not the best for them. The next problem, hiring managers changing requirements during the process. Sometimes here we just need to accept, and that's it, because sometimes it's just as it is in the business. That, as I mentioned, it's not something set in stone forever. However, sometimes it's also happening in terms of requirements. So something was mentioned, something was not mentioned. So what we may do, we may reconfirm the requirements here. Yeah. So if we have established some document, we may get back to the document, reconfirm them. We may go through a job advert, job description again, and we may check what we need. If we need to amend, of course, we're amending, but then, of course, as well, we need to rediscuss the timelines, and we need to stay realistic about the profile that we are looking for. Next one, unstructured and chaotic process. Here, definitely just developing a standardized recruitment process with clear stages and defined responsibilities. This is something that may help. In majority of corporate world, we have those. In smaller companies, we may not have, or in developing companies, we may not have. So it's just about as well agreeing and also staying flexible with manager needs. There is no one process working for all. So sometimes we also need to be flexible, and we need to understand some specific needs of the manager. The next one is unstructured interview process and inconsistent questions for candidates. So this one is tricky because sometimes you are probably joining those calls and you see this. Sometimes you don't see, and you read this from some kind of a survey that candidates are leaving after the process, or they are sharing this feedback with you after. So I would say, of course, it's great if we do have some kind of interview guide with standardized questions for all candidates. If no, we may encourage manager, or we may ask about this. Yeah. So do you have such a guide? Yes. What kind of questions you will ask candidates, how they can prepare? Yeah. So you may just check, and of course as well advise if they don't have such set of questions and a script for interview, just try to share good practices, yes, with them. Then equating education years of experience with skills. This one I would say is also tricky. What we can do, we may focus on competency-based assessment and skill tests. We don't need actually a diploma to do the job, but we need a real person with competencies. Yeah, so you may have a great diploma and years of experience, but you may not be a good candidate, and you may not have the right skill sets. So it's just about the skills. And I would say it's really important just to convince the manager to interview and to check the skills. And just to do it in a transparent way. Yes, not reading the future just from the education or some kind of other factors. Then the next one possible, like culture fit or culture out. So probably you've seen this in your systems, or you've heard that from managers. This candidate is not a good culture fit. Is it really about culture fit, or maybe about culture out? Yeah. So what is this culture? What do we really need? And also, if we have candidates who bring diverse perspectives and can contribute to the company growth and innovation, try to show this and try to cite this to managers. Yes, this might really work for our company and for you, manager, when having this team. Yes, as well. Here's the importance and also I would say something that we need is from organization. So managers should also be trained about unconscious biases and how to manage those type of diverse teams better. But this is what we can at least do here on this part. Yeah, so we can check and ask curious questions. Then assumptions and predicting the future. So this is also a bias. I will tell you later how to manage, but just like quick solution based on evidence and data rather than assumptions. Yeah, so we need to have structured interviews, assessment tools, also reference checks if we need to make informed decisions, and we should challenge those assumptions if we see them, or predicting the future. Then the next one, hiring manager doesn't trust recruiter's experience. Sometimes it happens, especially when recruiter is not working in the manager's team. Yeah, so sometimes manager may have like this feeling like, oh, how it's possible the recruiter will know what I need if they don't know me. Yes, of course, if this is like a first contact with a manager, it will be not so easy to achieve all those steps. But of course, if you have longer relationship with the manager, and you are working on it, it should not be the problem. Yeah, so definitely here, of course, trying to build trust, trying to have regular communication, collaboration, sharing market insights, candidates feedback, recruitment metrics to demonstrate your recruiter's expertise as well. And the last one here on my list is that hiring manager has a narrow candidate vision. So there is like kind of pre-identified candidate, or you see like a benchmark profile, or some kind of one university or previous workplace or a degree, and managers stick to it and is not able to change the requirements. However, this requirement does not seem really reasonable. Yes, and sometimes sometimes happen as well. So what we might do here, it's also like, I would say, a quick win is using data, yes, to challenge biases, providing example of successful hires from varied backgrounds, from different universities, or as well explaining manager that, okay, X employee, but when you hired this person was not having the skill set. Yeah, so because typically manager is comparing, this person like at the moment with a new person, but it is not fair because this person when entered the role was not having this competency skill set. So it's like also some kind of a bias. Yes, we are not comparing candidates with each other, but we are just comparing candidate competencies with the skill set that we have. I'm actually curious about more possible challenges you've got. I'm sure there is more. So you can put them in the chat box, and I'm happy to see what kind of struggles you do have on a daily basis. Let's go further then. So I will tell you about application process. I know some of you are not working with writing job ads, but what we may do, we are scanning them and we are also working with them. Yes, sometimes you also will write them. So it depends on what you can do. It depends on where you are in terms of the process and what duties are on your side. So what I wanted to mention before I go through this is like research shows that inclusive job posting result is 42% more applicants and reduced time to hire and increased retention. So it's really worth taking time to shape a good accessible application process. What are those, let's say, must-haves? So definitely gender neutral. This can be easily checked by different tools, gender decoders. Some are free, open sources. Some you may have like on your corporate table and you may just use them. So it's just about checking. Really probably experienced recruiters, they just know those words that are more feminine and more masculine. But it's really important just to try to be neutral. And then clear and simple, like don't over engineer your job adverts and job descriptions. They should be really clear and concise and simple, and candidate friendly. Job posting is not the same as job description. So we may deliver a huge job description later on during the process, but what we have on the web or on our career website is really like, quick information, who we need, what kind of responsibilities this person will have, and what we may offer to this candidate. As well, descriptive, yeah, so make it really visible. What is your must-have? What is nice to have? And really check this also with manager. And the last is commitment, yeah, so when they see we are also promoting diversity, it's also appealing, and it's also an invitation, yes, for the candidates. What else we might do? Simple application form. Candidates don't like to copy paste their CV into complicated forms. So try to make it candidate friendly, short, try to provide some accessible online forms, and really don't overcomplicate it. Make it as simple as it is. Then provide clear instructions. For us, it's simple. It's really like obvious, but for candidates, it is not. So if there is anything unique in your in your recruitment process or application process, let's highlight it and make it visible and provide step-by-step instruction on how to navigate the application process. Then, of course, promote inclusivity. So encourage diversity by creating welcoming atmosphere as well in the job ad. It's the first point of contact. Yes, like job ad sometimes is the first contact with our company. So try to look in the job ads in the eyes of the candidate. Yeah, so try to assess it as you were the candidate. What you would like to read, what you would like to see, what you will learn from the job ad, about the company, about the atmosphere in the company. And as well, continuous improvement. This part is sometimes neglected, but it's really important. Once you shaped good job ad, it doesn't mean the work is done. It means, yes, we have a good job, but it can become better through time. So it's good to revise it regularly as well, and also learn best market practices, and also hear the candidates. Yeah, so stay open for feedback from candidates and incorporate the feedback into your process. What we may do as recruiters, staying open, also involving multiple perspectives, review and revise descriptions, suggest changes. Also use those tools, the coders, as I've mentioned, making sure that all the needs are written on the job description and job posting, making sure nothing is missed, or additionally added as well, make sure there are EVPs and unique selling points listed, and that candidate will learn about it. As well, remember to deep dive into your job ad. Don't take them for granted. Check them. Check the requirements one by one, checking with the manager whether this is really needed and where there is a flexibility. Then we have a kickoff calls. Kickoff calls. So how often you've heard from the hiring manager, oh, everything is in the job description. Yeah, it's a standard profile. It's just a technical role. You have everything you want. No, it's just, it's just so typical. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. So kickoff calls, intake sessions, briefing calls, strategy meetings, whatever we call them, are unfortunately often neglected, and importance of them are underestimating. While this is a part of the process, is a true base for us to then be able to meet the needs. Would you send a description if you would like to buy a home to the salesperson and just wait for the photos, or you prefer to have a call and maybe then describe? Or if you are going on a trip into the mountains with your partner, would you agree on what you are taking on the equipment and the plan, or would you go spontaneously? I hope not to see anyone in the flip-flops on the top of the mountain. So I would say the preparation here is really, really important. So what we can do, definitely book the time in advance and prepare for the kickoff. Make sure you have all the information and deep dive into job description, confirm the criteria for the role, and distinguish nice-to-haves from must-haves, as well confirm with the manager where there is flexibility. Yeah? So what is absolute must-have, what can be somehow not meeting, like where we cannot meet the box. Yes, then make sure that you understand the job profile. I think this is the most important, of course. If possible, establish screening questions that you will ask the candidates. Yes, sometimes the managers may have some advices as well here during kickoff, and it will help you as well to select the candidates. Present diverse benchmarks, diverse benchmark profiles on the kickoff. So prepare those profiles, show them to the manager on the kickoff, and ask for their opinion. Of course, document agreements and reconfirm them as well. It's really important to make the good rapport and to have those established. As well, present market insight if available and show what's realistic. Agree on the process and the next steps. And again, make sure that you have the right EVPs and your unique selling points, because this is something you need for your candidates. Then on the selection, interviewing, and offer, I've just actually aggregated them together. I know there are different parts of the processes, but here actions are somehow similar, at least for me. So definitely open communication and a feedback loop. We should feel that this is a genuine feedback and that we are able to discuss together with hiring managers, and we are partners. As well, encourage them to use standardized assessment criteria and make sure that they are using those criteria. Be up to date with the good market practices, and make sure that a manager is making objective decisions. So if you hear there is some kind of bias or a manager may not be objective, let's try to also challenge, and of course, try to support by, when you are shortlisting candidates, present the strengths and gaps of the candidates. Yeah, so benefits that that manager will have by hiring, and as well the areas where there is some kind of investment needed. Support in making an offer, meaning partner hiring manager in hiring decisions. So having calibration sessions, wash-up sessions, addressing managers' doubts, or sometimes over positive decisions. Yeah, sometimes managers want to hire like now. So it's also good to sometimes stop. I know it's tempting to offer now because there is a payoff, but it's good as well to pause and to check whether this is a good decision. Gather meaningful feedback, as always. Feedback means no, it's not enough. It should be more. It should be why no, and exactly what kind of requirements was not met, why this candidate was rejected. As well, react and educate when you see the bias and challenge bias, and as well have a calibration sessions. I'm sure you've heard about bias. What is bias? I will go really quickly through that before we go to tips and tricks. So bias is a tendency, inclination, or prejudice towards or against something or someone. It may be against one person or as well against a group, or maybe even organization. There are personal, cultural, institutional. It's normal, so it's human. Bias is a human. It is something we all have because we naturally gravitate towards what is familiar. It's about evolution, yeah. So we are all biased. We naturally categorize others based on physical qualities, background, and different dimensions. Bias can be conscious, unconscious, mean implicit and explicit, and as I mentioned previously, part of human nature. We have also different types of biases. Prejudices I mentioned, as well statistical bias, contextual bias, unconscious and conscious bias, and as well cognitive bias. Like, it's worth mentioning, like, for, as you see on the left, cognitive biases, we have like around 175 biases. So I will tell you today just only about few of them that are the most common in recruitment. However, this list is definitely not exhaustive. And I feel like probably in the next few years and months, we'll have like more biases as well connected with new technologies we are using, because bias is also not only about face-to-face, it's just about how we act and how we feel, yes, and how we behave. So it may also, those biases may also evolve, and we may have some new. So how individual biases or system bias can impact hiring decisions? We'll have less diversity. So if we are not aware on the biases and we let them action, we let them hijack our actions, we'll have less diversity. We will favor or we will discriminate people. We will hire same people as we are. We will make bad decisions as well. Hiring a wrong person, it means the impact for our efficiency, productivity, and working culture. As I mentioned, having biases makes us human. Let's start with halo horn effect. The name is created from halo horn, yes, like angel devil effect. Halo effect is positive, and horn effect is negative. It's connected with the first perception, yeah. So first thoughts, first observation, and your own judgments, yeah. So your own individual preferences, prejudice, ideology, social perception, yeah. So this is what we think, what we have. And what we see for the first time. A good example of that is we see person is attractive and we feel is as well intelligent, yes. Or for example, we see a candidate with a great educational background, and we may feel that this means candidate is a perfect fit and is having as well all the other competencies, but it's not so easy. What are possible actions to minimize and disrupt the bias? Blind resume screening. I know probably for you it's not so possible, but you may do it for managers. You may establish this kind of process and you may test how it works. As well, using skills assessment tests and competency-based interview questions. Having structures interviews and using the same set of questions for every candidate. Having multiple perspectives, so having more than one person engaged in the process and trying to share the perspective. As well, having transparent rating system, multiple step process, of course, not too complicated, but if we do have few people and, for example, screening, then one interview and one more call with the PM, sometimes I think it's quite a normal process, yes, then we are able to minimize as well this bias. And diverse interviewing panel, because this will also provide us more diverse feedback from different people. And measure first impressions in the end. So if you have some kind of first impression, try to write it down, try to measure, and try to be aware that it happens. Yes, that it really happens. Okay, the next one is attribution bias. So this is how we actually evaluate the reason of someone's behavior. This is something we do every day. So those are some kind of judgments and assumptions. And there are plenty of those. There are different types, subtypes, actor-observer bias, self-service bias, hostile attribution, fundamental attribution. I won't tell you about all of them, but what I will do, I will just tell you quickly 2 examples. So first is hiring manager notices candidates tend to change jobs frequently. I think it's really the most probably like often case that you have. So, oh no, because this person is a job hopper, I don't want a kangaroo, I want somebody who will be stable. But do we really know what costs those job changes? So this is where we need to stop manager and we need to provide the information. Then as well, another one that hiring manager unfairly assess the candidate's attributes. Yes, like positive, let's say like there was some kind of red flags and the manager neglected them, or opposite one. Yeah, so there was some kind of one red flag and the red flag just influenced the whole perception of the candidate. What are the possible actions? Definitely recognize whether thoughts about a candidate are based on information or assumption. So have we checked that with a candidate? If no, and this is our assumption, go back to the candidate and seek the information. Yes. So why candidate change job, or why candidate said us this or that? Yes. And then we've got a confirmation. So this will be a data-based information, not assumption. As well, supplement incomplete information, confirm with candidate. Use competency-based questions and technical questions to evaluate the skills, and don't assume. Sometimes you may say, oh, this is not a good candidate because probably he won't, but probably stop. We need to check, then we will be able to discuss. Yes, we are not reading the future. Review CV longer, and also encourage hiring managers to review them again if you feel that they have just did it for a very short time and that they have a wrong impression. And also be a juror, not a judge. So hear all the evidence before deciding. So try not to have a decision. And also if you feel your managers, they got those decisions up front, try to challenge them and say, okay, maybe first we may check the candidate and then we can make a decision. The next one is the contrast effect. So the contrast effect is something that is happening when we are comparing 2 things. Here, of course, candidates, one with another. Yeah. So and this should not happen in the recruitment. So we should not compare candidates with each other, but we should compare the candidate competencies with the job requirements. And this is, I would say, this is a common pitfall in the recruitment. It's something that a lot of managers are comparing candidates with each other. And this is not something that works in their favor. Yeah. So, for example, the example would be here. We have a very good candidate, and then the next one, the same day, is weaker. So this very good candidate probably was, let's say, a bit overqualified, will cloud the evaluation of the next one. So in comparison, we see a candidate who's very, very strong, and then the candidate who was much weaker, but we should not compare them one to another, but we should compare the second candidate with the job requirements and as well the first with the job requirements, and decide whether this is a good or bad candidate. It may happen the same if you have like in a row few candidates that are not meeting the requirements, and then the next one is meeting, but is it really a good candidate for us? Then as well, here contrast effect would be a situation I already presented to you. We have an ex-employee as benchmark, yes, and we are looking for this person. It's not possible. It's just not possible, yeah. So it's important to look. Of course, we may inspire by the profile. It may give us some information. It may somehow simplify the process, but we will not be able to find a clone, and this is not possible. What are the possible actions? How we may minimize what I mentioned? Just assess candidates, their competency skill set in comparison to requirements, and our competencies list, not other candidates. The same script for all candidates, same questions, as well seek feedback and different perspectives. So try to discuss, try to calibrate, try to have some kind of wash-up session discussion and hear different perspectives. And as well, having skill assessment tests and competency-based interview will help us to minimize the contract effect. I wanted to, it's really not easy to minimize all those biases. We'll still fall into that trap, yes, but it's about being aware and trying to minimize them. So we'll never be able to liquidate them, but we at least can minimize them and be aware. This one, I'm sure you know, yeah, so candidates is having some kind of trait that is similar to me, the same university, or maybe same hobby, and then we feel, oh, we have a great relationship. Manager will have the same. Yeah? So this is also a bias. Yeah? So they are sharing same traits with us. For example, a hiring manager worked with the same company with the person, but they haven't worked together. Yeah? So there is no further story, just the company name, just the label. But the hiring manager may be more keen to hire this person. Or, for example, manager is assessing the similarities. Yeah, so when checking the CV, oh, the candidate had the same education as me, or oh, this is similar. So I would like to meet this candidate, but this is not what we really need. Yeah, so we don't want the clone, but we want candidates who can do the real job and has the competency skill set. What are the possible actions? Give likability a score. Stay aware. Structured decision-making process, diverse interview panel. Again, this is something that will help us to minimize more than one bias, as well. Stay open for feedback from others. If we hear a different perspective, try to open and also try to share your feedback with manager. Yes, if you feel like they're going somewhere not in the right direction. And also write down the similarities. It's also helping, yes, if we see those similarities and we know, oh, this may cloud my judgment. Yes, this is what maybe I gave too much favor for this candidate because of similarities. And a little meme for you. This is never working well. I mean, like when we have all the same puzzles, they will never be one. They will never be one, picture. The next one is confirmation bias. So I think the graph is showing and explaining it really well. So this is we are trying to find facts or data that are confirming our pre-existing beliefs. Yeah, so we are somehow ignoring other data, but we're just seeking the data to confirm. Good example. That manager is already sure this is the best candidate, and he's just finding the way to prove himself he's right. Or there are some kind of certain beliefs about nationality, gender, or any other dimension, and then manager also will seek for the confirmation for it. What we may do, we may structure interview, we may use the same set of questions for every candidate, as well consider alternative perspectives and seek contradictory evidence. Yeah, so try to seek a different perspective. Is it possible to explain this in a different way? And then try to ask as well this manager. Foster critical thinking as well, saying focus on job requirements, using rating scale, and as well relying on the evidence, not gut feelings, paying attention to red flags, and taking more time to decide. and don't rush. I mean, of course, we are every time hiring in a recruitment process, but I mean, like unreasonable rush, yes, that we sometimes have. And as well, a little demand for you. The next one is connected with a group. So this is our conformity bias. And this one is about the pressure. Yeah, so it's something that probably you know. Sometimes you might be afraid to voice a different opinion. For example, if your manager already said something about the candidate, yes, you feel the candidate is perfect fit, but the manager mentioned, no, it's not a good fit. And then it happens. You are not maybe so brave to share different perspective. Or in the panel, when different panelists are sharing feedback and your voice is opposite, we also may not be so keen to share and we can just agree for what they've said. What we may do, keeping integrity, just being yourself, sharing your genuine feedback and staying brave. We should also have diverse interviewing panels and collaboration sessions to discuss. And what can help us right now in the era of AI, we may use also some good AI tools that help us to aggregate the feedback and show the feedback aggregated. So we do not see from whom the feedback is shared, but we just see that we have a good feedback. And what are other common biases in recruitment? Stereotyping. I'm sure you know about that as well. Inconsistencies with different set of questions with different candidates. Cultural noise. So that candidate will tell you what you want to hear, but not what they really think. As well, age. Yeah, some people may not be considered as eager and willing to do the job for longer or staying longer. And as well, gender bias. Yes, I'm sure you've seen all those. And here's the last one, the last slide. What we might do and how those biases will impact, because we might say, oh, why do I need to know about that? So as I mentioned previously, there are plenty of situations when those biases happen and when we are somehow they are clouding our judgments. Yeah. So for example, good university, somebody's different from potential colleagues and we are excluding, somebody's older than the average candidate, we are excluding, somebody's reminding us about someone and we like this candidate better or we may not. Or for example, even simple address may be as well. Because here you see as well how it works on the CV. So where we may have those high-low confirmation bias effect, affinity bias as well, groupthink. And here I also wanted to share with you a research that was done really some time ago. It was done in Germany. There were 3 fictitious female characters with identical qualifications. So the CV was the same, but just the picture was different. And the first one was a person with a German name, second Turkish name, and the third one was Turkish wearing a headscarf. And here you see the callback rate. Yeah, so 15%, 18% for first, 14 and for just basing on the photo. Yeah, so this is where we are in terms of the biases. In terms of disrupting bias, what I may also tell and what kind of technique I use, it's a pause technique. This technique is really simple. Yeah, so sometimes we need to pause and think, paying attention, acknowledge our assumptions, understand perspective, and seeking different perspective, and examine opinions and make decisions. And I wanted also to tell you that we should not be ashamed of making biases. We just need to accept them and challenge and learn through this experience because they just make us human. Also, we may agree on some kind of alert word for a bias, yes, like ouch, meow, or bias, or anything else that will help us, But we need to, of course, have a good relationship as well with hiring manager. We should not read the future. We should ask and confirm. When we recognize bias, we should act. Also, challenge hiring manager. So what? So what will happen if you hire this candidate? As well, sometimes use reverse logic and carefully check those you like and be open-minded with those you don't in terms of the candidate, and try also to encourage your manager to do that. We are almost in the end, so I'm ready for your questions. Maybe there is something you are curious to hear, or maybe there is something we should discuss. So I'm happy to hear anything from your side.
Anna, huge thanks for sharing your expertise with us. Really, your insights were super valuable. You highlighted so many important things, especially like how collaborating with hiring managers, like how it can be tricky also, and about so many types of biases and how they can negatively also impact to the hiring decisions sometimes. And also, it was great to hear about useful and like possible ways of fix them. So yeah, let's move to the Q&A session and maybe dedicate additional 7 minutes because it's already 6 p.m. on East European time. So dedicate maybe 7 minutes for it. We will start with the questions in the chat. We already received several for you. So let's start from the first one from Anka. We've got the next question. What are your thoughts on implementing quotas for hiring women, people with disabilities, and other individuals with diverse backgrounds?
Yes, so a lot of companies are having those type of targets and goals. And I would say, this is only my opinion, I would say it's good that we have those type of goals. Yes, if we treat them as goals and we treat them as like a bigger picture. Yeah, so this is something that we have, that we're all aware. Also, sometimes it helps us as a recruitment function to navigate and to collaborate with hiring managers. However, I will also say that we cannot be like very strict into those. Yeah, so they should not stop and block recruitment process because we are still having business needs, you know, and those are the most important that we need to fulfill. So we need to balance it somehow, and we need to also base those targets and those goals on data. So first we need to analyze the data, see where we are, and try to set the goals like step by step, small steps, not trying to change, the picture from one day. It's not possible to do it overnight. So it's just about the journey, where we are, and small steps. But I would say it's great that organization is supporting this, that they see the need for this, that they're also equipping recruitment function and managers with different tools, with different techniques, and with different trainings. And by this, we can create more inclusive workplace, and we're also able to invite more diverse people.
Thanks for the answer. Also, the second one question from Maya is the next. How do companies know if their efforts to hire diverse employees are working well?
That's a very good question. So there are a lot of materials and articles and also researchers that were done. In tech, we can, for example, rely on Harvard researchers. Also, we do have some researches done by different companies, and they're being released, like, for example, consulting companies. So we do have a research, and we do have a real evidence on that. There are also researchers that are giving us more detailed information. So that, for example, how many percentage inclusive teams and diverse teams will overperform the teams where the diverse is lower. Yeah, so there are different places. I can also share a few open sources with you. The really also good one is Women in STEM, and also there are different organization, the one we're also working with, that are providing those data and stats. So through time, there were plenty of researchers, and they're also still conducted, that are giving us real evidence. So now we know that this is giving a real benefit for the organization on different levels.
Thanks. And the third question is from Olga. What does diversity recruitment mean to you? And when did you realize it was really important for your work, leading you to explore it further?
Oh, I love this question. I think it was just when I started to work with European team and with EMEA zone. So it was a totally different experience for me as a person, as a human, to see different colleagues with different visions, different working styles. And when I previously worked only with one culture, for me, it was a discovery. Like it was like traveling, like it was some kind of blessing, I would say. Yeah. So this is really widening your perspective and showing that there is more than you thought. and those puzzles can beautifully work together, and we may do better, we may achieve more, we can have fun, we can have different perspective, and we are all here to embrace. So I've learned through managing my own team, and I understood that we might achieve that into the recruitment as well. Yeah, so that was that discovery done just, I would say, I would not say by accident, because I have chosen this path of my career, but on the job training, I would say. Yeah, so that was the discovery on the job training.
Oh, thank you. And okay, the next one question, can you give examples of companies that have successfully hired a diverse group of people and how it's helped them?
So there are plenty of stats, as I mentioned. Also, really huge companies are sharing diversity, inclusion, equity reports. So for some companies, like for example, from financial sector, we may find those information on an annual basis. They are releasing the report and showing what kind of percentages of diversity they were able to achieve. And also, for example, in different countries, there are also other reports available. For example, there are reports on a gender pay gap or nationality pay gap difference. Yeah, so this is like a year by year. Those companies also are working on improving those disparities. Yes, and this is something you might track. So if you just go Google, I'm sure you will find as well a lot of reports. I also studied myself those. I can also share with you some links later.
Thank you. And we only have a few minutes left to address the final question, and then we'll conclude. Here's the question from Deborah. When you have same group applying for similar roles, how do you manage it such that you are reaching more audiences to encourage diverse hiring?
I need this question again. Sorry, Marina. I'm not sure I understood it. So maybe you can read it.
I will repeat it. When you have same group applying for similar roles, how do you manage it such that you are reaching more audiences to encourage diverse hiring?
So when the same candidates are applying, I'm not sure whether I got this question right. So I'm sorry if I haven't understood it in the right way. How I understood is that when there are the same candidates applying for different jobs, yes, and how we manage it. So it is also quite common situation in the recruitment world. So what we are trying to do, we're trying to seek the evidence and data from the candidate. So we are calling the candidate and checking actually the motivation and checking the skill set. And basing on this, on the motivation, the skills, the previous experiences, we're trying to match the candidate with the right job, and also then not processing the candidates for all the other job, yes, because we don't want the candidate to be confused. So we are trying just to inspire ourselves with candidate motivation, because actually this is the clue for us. Yes, the candidate in the end needs to be effective and successful in his or her job. So I would say this motivation would be the key here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. So, okay, everyone, it seems like it was the last question we can discuss because our meeting time is up. Thanks a lot for being here and taking part at our webinar. And Anna, thank you once again for your so informative presentation and for taking the time to answer all questions. So thanks everyone for your participation, and please remember to join our She's Tech community on Discord to continue the conversation and stay updated on our future events. So looking forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.